according to the clock, it's almost 3:15, and I welcome you back. It's a long day for us, and I hope you really enjoy it. And how has your day been? Do you have a good time? Yes. Wonderful. Okay. The closing ceremony, we are so honored to have our Vice President, Dr. Patrick O'Meara, to join us and share with us the state of international affairs at Indiana and IU. He told me to keep my introduction short, and I tried to. Dr. O'Meara is the Vice President for International Affairs, and he is also a professor of political science, public and environmental affairs. He has published extensively on the African continent and received numerous international awards, including the Cross of St. George Award in Spain, the Warsaw University Medal, the Amicus Polonii from the Embassy of Poland, an honorary doctorate from the National Institute of Development University in Thailand, and just recently, the Gold Cross of Merit of the Republic of Hungary. He oversees the international programs at all 8 IU campuses and provides leadership and coordination of all international directions and initiatives. Dr. O'Meara has given Indiana University a well-earned reputation around the world as a place that truly welcomes and nurtures international students and scholars. He understands deeply the importance of the global aspect of education. Please join me to welcome Dr. O'Meara.
Okay. I want to know where you're all from. Now, I'm not going to go around and ask everyone, but why don't you all just tell me what schools you're from? One big burst of noise. Welcome. Now, after today, do you think this is an international campus?
Yes.
Why? Why is it international? What have you learned about this? I have the best job at this university. I'm in charge of international things. So tell me, why is it an international? What have you learned today? Anything? Anyone want to tell me?
You offer more languages than any other university.
Languages.
Any other in
the United States, almost.
There are more here than any other university.
It's really an exciting place to be. Look, you're all going to be going to college, I hope, soon. Now, let me tell you about this campus and why it's international, and to give you some ideas about what a great international university is. We had a wonderful president, Herman Wells, and many people have come from your schools probably who've been Wells scholars. What did he believe? He believed that Indiana University should first and foremost be part of the world. That was the main thing. That all of the young students from different parts, the small towns of Indiana, should encounter the world when they came here. And the second thing he believed in was that we should serve the world. We should go out to the world. So what does that mean to you? It's a lot of words? Yeah. But what does it mean? It means if you come here, how many international students do you think we have on the Bloomington campus? Guess. How many? How many? No. About 5,000. We are the 12th largest component of international students in the United States. So, but that doesn't include spouses and children. So you're nearer the mark when you mention 10,000, because there are many international students who have wives, husbands, and kids. So in Bloomington, you're going to meet international students. It's the first thing. It's a big thing. It's an important thing. You're going to meet them in the dorms, you're going to meet them in the classrooms. What about studying abroad? Do any of you want to study abroad? Do any of you want to go overseas? Okay, tell me where. Where would you like to go? Spain? Where?
Spain.
Japan? Spain? Spain? Let me tell you about Spain. You just heard, I have a special thing from Spain. I'm received the Cross of St. George from Spain. IU has been dealing with Spain for the last 20 years in cities like Barcelona and Madrid. And our students all go to study abroad programs in Madrid and Barcelona if they choose to. What about Japan? Kyoto? Tokyo? Again, we have great strengths for study abroad in all of those places. Okay? Study abroad, languages, all of these things are very important to this university. What else? Why should you pick Indiana University? Why should you want to come here? I don't believe that we can have a great university today, or a university that's going to get you jobs, or a university that's going to help you with your careers, unless it's global and international. The Kelley School, our business school, one of the top-ranked business schools in this country. 40% of those students now go overseas. Why? Because business is overseas, because the world is there to be dealt with, even though there's a financial crisis. Who thinks we have a financial crisis? Anybody? Oh, don't tell me we do. But that doesn't mean we curl up and close our doors and sit in home. It means that we have to do more. I want to share with you where I was last week and tell you why it's important, each one of the stops. I just got back. Started in Vienna, Austria. Why? Wonderful study abroad program in Vienna, music school. Vienna's a great city, wonderful city to be in. Next stop, Abu Dhabi and Dubai. Very important places. They will continue to be in the Gulf. Next stop, Singapore. Why? IU's involved. We have a lot of students from Singapore. And then Australia. And let me share with you something that's not public. What are we trying to do in Australia? Why was I there? One of the world's best universities is Canberra University, top-ranked university. They are very interested in Pan-Asian studies. They're interested in a lot of parts of Asia that we're interested in Thailand, in Vietnam, in India. And they're also very interested in what we have on the Bloomington campus. Let me tell you what we have. Tibet, Mongolia. These are very special interests. Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Afghanistan. We teach Pashtun here. So you understand, there's a mutual interest. So we're building a special relationship. Do any of you know why Tibet is strong here? Has anyone heard why Tibetan studies are strong? Let me tell you why. Because the Dalai Lama's brother was teaching here until he died. Professor Norbu. How many times have we had the Dalai Lama on this campus? 4 or 5 official visits from His Holiness. And he'll be back. So we're very strong in these areas. And the Australians, when I was there, are very interested in a new kind of linkage between our two universities. A 21st century linkage. Not just a partnership. We're going to be using high-definition television to teach languages in classrooms in Canberra. And in turn, they're going to be teaching languages here using high-definition television. We're going to do a lot of things with Canberra, using new technology, using new opportunities for our students to go there. See, in many ways, I started off by saying Herman Wells believed that we should be part of the world and that we should serve the world. But in the 21st century, we've got to do that differently. We've got to use new technology. We've got to think of new ways of teaching. We've got to think of new ways of incorporating materials. I'm going to share another few reflections, and then you've got to see the gumboot. I edited a textbook that's been adopted. It's now going into its 4th edition on Africa. And that textbook has been adopted by over 100 universities in the United States for the undergraduate classes. The 4th edition is different because all of you are different. When we did the 1st edition maybe 20 years or more ago, it was a different world. We didn't have Facebook. We didn't have blogs. We've got to write the book differently. We've got to also reflect the way the world is changing. China is in Africa, doing a lot. We've got to incorporate China into the book. We've got to deal with all kinds of diseases like HIV/AIDS, which is an important factor that's got to be dealt with as we look at it. We've got to be aware that there are new things that are happening. So that if you choose to come to IU, you're going to find a lot of faculty, a lot of people who are doing things at the cutting edge. New ways of thinking, new ways of acting, new ways of teaching. And in many ways, you will be ready, even if you never leave Indiana. Hope you do, come back. But if you work in Indiana, you need to be global. Your minds need to be global. Your minds need to be international, whatever your jobs are. And if you come here and you become immersed in a topic, what might happen to you? We had a conference here last week. We had two wonderful people here. Who were they? One of them was the former US ambassador to Moscow, James Collins. Very exciting man. Just think of what he did in Moscow. He headed an embassy with a budget of $1 billion. He negotiated at a point when the US relations called for innovation. And remember, he did his MA here. Another person who did an MA here that we've been working with, because we're going to be celebrating in Washington an event in a week, is the Secretary of Defense, Secretary Gates. Came to Indiana University, did a degree here. So not only do we have people who are engaged in politics, but we have people who are creative writers, performers, we have people who are professors, we have people who are school teachers. And everywhere the ripple effect of what they have learned at IU becomes part of their lives. Let me conclude with just one or two last thoughts, because I know you want to see the gumboot dancers, and I see they're getting ready. I travel a lot. I go to many places. And, you know, one of the great joys I have is to meet our alums, the people who studied here, and what they are and where they are. And they talk to me about Bloomington. Singapore, I sat down with some of our alums and they said, oh, this is a great place, it's our memory. And I'm going to conclude with one last memory of a former student. Come with me. I had to go on a special trip with Governor Mitch Daniels to Japan. And one of the days, no, I'm not political. I went officially on behalf of the university. On one of the days, we went to a great Shinto shrine called Nikko in Japan. So let me give you the word picture. We walked up this wonderful 1,000-year-old long roadway with cedar trees and water cascading down the side. And we went from layer to layer. And you know the famous three monkeys, see no evil, speak no evil? That's where they originated, and we saw them. And we walked up to the highest level, and Mitch Daniel was inducted as a shogun for the day. Okay, so far so good. Then we went for lunch. And the priest of the shrine came up and shaking hands, and he came over to me and he said, where are you from? The translator said, he's from Indiana University. He said, wait, please wait. I want my son to come. So they sent off for the son. The son arrived, almost 6 feet tall, very unexpected in Japan, in flowing blue and white robes, a martial arts specialist. And he arrived and he came up to me and he said, hi, how are things in Bloomington? The room went dead. He said, how's the Dowling Center? I studied English there. And then he asked the most difficult question of all. What has happened to Bobby Knight? So, there you are. At this wonderful shrine in Nikko, in Japan. There we were with the priest's son who had been to Bloomington, Indiana. Now, if you don't want to come to Indiana, that's fine. But try and find a place that's as good. Thank you very much.
I guess you cannot wait any longer for the gumboot dancers. It's a great pleasure. We have a African dance performance at the end of the ceremony. And they are the Indiana University Gumboot Dance Group. Let's welcome.
a lot of noise. So if you like what you see, make some noise, please.
What's up?
We're a democratic group. We all get to lead. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Let you guys know what this is all about. So our name is the IU Gumbo Group. We've been on campus for how many years?
6 years.
6 years. I've been part of like 3 years, my third year in it. It started with our leader, Muzi, who unfortunately had to stay in South Africa this year. But he started by teaching Zulu classes and teaching gumboots as part of his classes. Gumbo dancing comes from South Africa, and it started in the gold mines. In South Africa, there are a lot of mines of all kinds, and the British and Dutch who colonized this country actually went and recruited all kinds of workers from different countries, took them to the mines in South Africa, and had them work in the mines. The mines were floated, therefore the workers had to wear rubber boots. That's why we wear the gumboots, and that's where our names come from. In very early years also, the workers were chained to one another. That's why we have little jingles in commemoration to the early struggles. The workers, as I said, were sometimes from different countries, or from different tribes and could not always find a language to communicate to one another. Other times also the overseers were forbidding them from speaking to one another as they were working. So therefore they invented this code to communicate with one another, and the code consisted in slapping the boots. The overseers very soon saw that and found that very interesting and started to organize little competition between their workers. And so what's interesting about this is that a lot of the songs that accompany a lot of the little chants that we have that accompany the moves are oftentimes very aggressive towards the overseers, the white people who were referred to as sergeants and colonels and this kind of like British figures imposed on them. But they liked it, so they organized these competitions, and then that's when we come into play, because it's been very popular. And maybe you might be familiar with African American sororities and fraternities stepping, and this is where the stepping comes from. It was inspired from gumboot. So, who wants to learn? Yeah. Right? You guys come down. It's very simple. You don't have to be young. You don't have to be pretty. You don't have to be in good health. If you know where your right hand is and your left hand is, then you can do it. All right, coming down. Coming down. Thanks for the courageous people. Very good. That's all we got. Come on.
Sunday, 3 to 4 p.m.
Afterwards. All right.
Okay, we have 2 more steps for you. This is one of them. You can all stand up, and when Mike and I do this bata, you're welcome to join us. Okay? So you can just do it where you are. Everyone, be ready for the bata. When you hear bata,
What's up? Capsella, try this out.
do it with me.
Capsella. One more time, Capsella. I just have a few words before I say farewell to you. Ukraine has a saying, how many languages you know, how many times you are a person. I hope the first IU World Language Festival has helped you discover there are more than one person in you. And good luck to your study, good luck to your future. Thank you for coming. Goodbye.